Dear friends, welcome to the 12th and last segment of the ETHEM Innovation series on Megatrends and their impact on society, consumers and companies. I'm Joost van Nispen, founder of ETHEM, the Innovation Institute at the SIG Business and Marketing School, on Twitter known as Joost Tom. This series, and begin this last segment, we've talked about 10 megatrends and we've talked about the drivers that are increasingly disruptive and that underlie the 10 megatrends we have identified. What do these megatrends show us? Let's think of some of the concepts that we've talked about when we've talked about these different megatrends. Concepts like health, well-being, work-life balance, trust, authenticity, consideration, recognition, relationship, community, values, purpose, sustainability, truthfulness. Those are the things we've been talking about. They're quite different from what we would have talked about 3 years ago, when most of it would have been about technological innovation. Although we did mention that when we talked about the drivers. And it looks like the consumer, and indeed the citizen, is increasingly disoriented and distrustful. Things have simply gone too far, too quickly. And that is the profound realization that we've walked away with after analyzing these trends and how quite different they are from the trends that we would talk about a few years ago. The consumer has had to suffer over-promising, fake news, post-truth, communications which they can increasingly refer to, and even in the media they're now taking this up, as only marketing. What a terrible thing. Marketing, a very noble discipline if practiced properly, is now used as a kind of depreciating value to denigrate things that are considered communications that probably lack truth or relevance to customers. And what is even stranger is that even technological innovations are considered increasingly as not only a potential solution to problems, but as a threat. So the megatrends we've seen represent, on one hand, a consumer that is increasingly disoriented. And although we've seen that almost all these trends use some of the latest technologies, they are embedded in words that hark back to a day and to days in which consumers could find confidence in their relationship with brands, a confidence that is increasingly being challenged. No need to say that these megatrends, therefore, represent a very special challenge both to marketing and to innovation. The challenge for the new marketing is very clear. Consumers are telling us in these trends that they want to go back to basics. It's a huge challenge. In marketing, obviously technology is fundamentally important, but it's not enough. We must return to the marketing that was first popularized by Dale Carnegie in the 1920s. How to make friends and influence people. That's the kind of marketing these trends point at. We must invest in respect, in transparency, even radical transparency, and in giving the consumer the reason to believe that we talked about when we mentioned the 10th megatrend of brands with a purpose. Because without purpose, there's no reason to be. And very soon there will be no customers if we do not have a purpose that gives them a reason to believe. The main ingredient nowadays of brands faced with these 10 megatrends is reputation. What these megatrends are telling us is that now more than ever, it is far more important what others say about us, our reputation, than what we say about ourselves. And in order to save the consumer, we must learn again to practice active listening, to listen before we speak. It's interesting, and I go back once more, that there are still, normally older, people who understand this kind of marketing, but they, almost without exception, do not understand new technologies. And we find lots of people, normally younger, who are totally up to date on the latest technologies and trailblazers in this, but have very few notions of the kind of marketing that truly helps make friends and influence people. And there is a tremendous challenge to both these groups to complement their current knowledge toward a new integration, which mobilizes technology in favor of helping us make friends and influence people, and creating the kind of win-win situations that are the foundation of our future success as brands. What about innovation? I think it's very important to realize that innovation cannot exist in a vacuum. It must be a force for good, and it must serve to help us create a better world. This is what the megatrends are telling us. Innovation is not just technological progress, it's also mental progress, and must contribute towards a better world. If we forget it, we will lose the support of society. New models of innovation oriented towards the achievement of results that favor the common good is the kind of innovation that these megatrends point the way at. It's often called open innovation, and it should be based on the collaborative search for better solutions, the free flow of ideas, openness to constructive criticism, a commitment to continuous learning, and a great sensitivity towards the consequences of its applications in the real world. Active listening, collaborative learning, community involvement, application-driven research, and collaborative learning. These are some of the elements of the kind of innovation that is sustainable, will command broad public support, and will help us advance toward a better world. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration of the 10 megatrends that will affect how our society evolves, how our consumers behave, and how our companies respond through their marketing and communication. Thank you very much.